So, hello everyone, it's freaking Monday! Best day of the week, you all know it. It's Golden Kamuy, of course, the best anime of ever, of all time, of human mankind. It's so good, right? It's so goddamn good. Goddamn good. This is easily the best anime. It is the best anime. I mean, there's some more good anime, but come on. Golden Kamuy, come on, it's the best anime. And, I say it every week, right? But again, you know people here, right? It's a popular anime. You know, I really love Little Demon Princess too. She's so good, yeah. And actually, I was saying before we watched Golden Kamuy here, I think the anime, I think they're pretty similar too, right? I think they're pretty similar because the kind of the comedy of Golden Kamuy is kind of weird, right? It's kind of like out there and it's weird. And it's a lot of jokes on, you know, death and like killing, hinna, so it's like a weird comedy, right? We're not talking about this is Golden Kamuy, and it's kind of morbid comedy, right, so to speak, right? And that actually, that's I feel Monday is so fun now because, you know, Demon Princess, which I hope everyone's watching too, right? And of course my reaction and my news as well, is that it is really similar, I think, in one way, because she keeps killing these, you know, poor demons, and like, oh, I can use this ghost demon for my bed. It's like, I can build this log guy, and she's like a cat that would fit into this anime. She will go around and killing people there. She's Ogata. It's female Ogata, the main character. That's what it is. I see it now. But anyway, yeah. That thing was really good last episode. I guessed it though. I mean, I freaking guessed it. I was like, Ogata is probably pretending to be a decoy. He's dumb. He's up in his head, right? He's like pretending to be a decoy, but he's actually a decoy. I was like, I knew it. So that was beautiful. That was beautiful. And yeah, they couldn't get rid of their dog. I don't want to go home. But I felt that too. Like, what he's gonna do? Like, he's gonna leave him in like, you know, some Ainu out of nowhere. He can't speak the language. They're gonna drop him off there because it's like dangerous in Russia for him. But still, like, yeah, of course he's gonna follow them. Like, what can he do alone, right? He can't even talk to the Ainus. Like, yeah, poor guy. But anyway, let's start watching it. So 3, 2, 1, and go. Now, what I mean, like, what is he gonna do? Like the clownish character that can't speak to anyone. Like, what? No, but they offered him like, yes, it's gonna be dangerous. Maybe you should, you know, stay here with the Ainus. He's like, oh, I guess, but I love you guys, so don't leave me. It's like, yeah, but it's like, what can he do alone anyway? Oh my god. No, but he can smell the enemies. Exactly, he knows it. I believe in Ri, I know it. No, he knows. Dragon Dog, he knows what's happening. Exactly, he knows. So, because I am from a very cold country, right? There's a lot of snow in my country, so it is very hard when it's a snowstorm. It's very hard to see stuff, yeah. So I've been in my hometown. My hometown is much colder than this town. And it's like, when you have haze, it's almost kind of worse. You get like a foggy, you know, haze is like a cold fog, right? And you can be almost completely blinding, so you can't see, like, you get this kind of vision, right? You can see like a centimeter for you sometimes during the winter as well. This is also why you never attack the Russians, right? No, but really, like, if you look at history, and of course I hope people have history because you're gonna come here, yeah, waves coming. Better for the opening guys to of course show some scenes over there. Okay, so the water there too. So there might be a riding here on the ice then that might get broken as well. Okay, the opening, yeah. Now to say this from like a just, you know, historical aspect, right? You never attack Russia. And I like that no one ever learns that too. So first a Swedish king, right? Karl the 12th. He beat Russia, right? So he's like a famous, this is kind of the end of Swedish Empire. So in Swedish Empire, so for about 100 years, Sweden was really big, right? Because Sweden, of course, had Finland for like 700 years, but maybe more than that. But yeah, like Sweden had Finland for many years. Then Sweden basically beat the whole Roman Empire, right? Which is like Austria and Germany, basically. So they beat them, right? Conquered most of northern Germany and also some part of, like, you know, Letland, Istau, this kind of area in the Baltic. So basically Sweden had the whole Baltic Ocean. And of course Russia then, with Peter the Great, right? This is Tsar Peter at that time, starting to... But the thing is that Russia needed to have a seaport. into the Baltic. That's what it takes Sweden, basically. So in the beginning, Sweden actually won that war and defeated them and the Polish and the Danish and won. Sweden was attacked by everyone, basically, in the whole of, northern there. But then, Karl XII, in his genius, just entered into Russia. And he entered into Russia. He was like, take my army and I'm gonna move it into the cold and they can breathe. And I mean, so they all went and died in like the blizzard in Russia. It's like, great. Excellent strategy, And then, of course, Napoleon, roughly almost exactly 100 years later, was like, I heard about that Swedish emperor guy. He attacked them in Moscow. That was great. He did the same thing, entered another blizzard and died with the whole side. And then 130 years or later, of course, we had, the most popular guy ever, right? The Germans. They was like, oh, should we go into the Russian tundra, into the snow blizzard? And they also went in and died into it. So, like if you learn anything from history, is that you don't enter Russia and fight people in Russia during this blizzard, because you always die. Everyone dies. So, like, it's like the most recurring issue ever for an army. Oh, let's enter Russia. And of course, what they do is scorched earth strategy, right? Russia also they burn their own village, right? Yeah, they always do that. They did it against the Swedish, they did it against the French, they did it against the Germans. They did it on every goddamn time, every damn century. When you attack them, they destroy their own food, right, and the villages. So, and then they retreat backwards into the snow, right. And then, of course, when the army enters, like even save the Japanese, when they enters, they of course then can't take any food, they can't take shelter, they die, right. So this is nice. They're all the dogs together. But this is like a huge issue. This is a huge issue if you're fighting in Russia. This is like literally the biggest issue ever. Always fighting in Russia. That is so goddamn cold. And the snowstorms, you can't see anything. It's to be ambushed because you can't, of course, see any vision right. And so on. Right? So yeah. Okay, they managed to get to a little house here. And then usually very commonly, right, you stay with the animals. Absolutely during this time, like you might take shelter with the cows and so on because you get the body heat and everything. Eating is good then because then you get a little more energy, and also of course your stomach gets water. Exactly. So if you eat, you get hotter, right? Exactly. So because your stomach, stomach muscles and everything, moves on the inside, right? So you get hotter if you eat. It's like, I've been in this stuff before. It's like, deja vu. I fought the Russians a lot before and ate this food. I feel I've been here exactly doing the thing before, eating mochi in the winter and dying. But yeah, so this a little, we saw Sugimoto in an early episode, right? When his friend they was about to die, and he let them take the sled and so on. So because they were fighting in the same war core against the Russians. Yeah. Reminds me of my hometown, especially. My hometown, because I'm from a small city too. I mean, it's small compared to, a big capital. I mean, I lived in different countries, right? And my hometown is very, very tiny compared to, like, okay, the Russian guys I had to marry. Some friendly Russian guy with, The thing is that I want to do more. I know I was used to the cold, but one thing too is that my hometown is way colder than the east of Sweden, because west coast Sweden has more of this thing. They find some super lamp. It's like a lighthouse. Yeah, it's like a land lighthouse. Anti-blizzard lighthouse. Love it. I love it. Yeah, you can't sleep here, you're probably gonna die then. Yeah. That's a very common issue too where I'm from. That you have people that, gotta wake them up and so on. Was back to maybe the beach day when they had that the sledge. Ooh. Goosebump scene. La Stirpa, where's my little girl? He looks to go hallucinating though, so that's gonna be bad for him. Yeah, they're spotting the lighthouse. Like he knows, the moon is like this time. Yeah. A lot of these guys like, no, the moon can't be that big. The moon has to be this height. he's always so, I love this guy. He's always like, oh, this animal, it's like, the moon, no, the moon has to be this size. So it's like, what? But yeah, it's a lighthouse in the... Yeah, you're blocking the light. You make it worse for them. What happened to the dogs? Oh yeah, but if, of course the lighthouse is an interesting thing there. Yeah, the lighthouse up in the snow there. Sits there calmly, like, hey man, I got some tea for you guys. Yeah, I don't think you ever were in danger. I'm being all sundry here. I didn't. I mean, I don't care about you guys. Yeah, the Russian guy is the hero here. Lighthouse Russian guy. Oh yeah, they're gonna... Definite light. Yeah, but it's like a really cute little lighthouse out here in the well, I guess it actually is the ocean here though. So it's an actual lighthouse, I guess, for boats, but I always felt like lighthouse is used to save people from the cold. But it is true, there is water there, so there is a lighthouse actually for boats, right? I mean, netto rare. He's netto raring the alpha dogs. Yeah, she didn't lick metal, so we all know that, right? Come on. Heat water, warm water. Oh yeah, hot water. That's also hot liquid. Yeah, hot liquid. I will do it. It's like I want to do it. But usually you take hot. Usually take hot water then, right? So you boil water and you know you kind of. But this is like what it coming with thing. I wanna do it. We need someone to like. I want to do it. This is gonna be great. It's been a great memory. Oh yeah, this is very Russian boards. Yeah, so these red beets. Rödbetar. What do you say? Yeah, but this is a very common ingredient too, right? These kind of beets, yeah, these kind of red beets and so on, because they survive the cold pretty easily. Oh, she's probably dead. Gory Kamuy, she's probably dead. I'm just like, come on. See, this is a guy like Kamuy backstory. Then your daughter, oh, she got murdered. Oh yeah, it's gonna be like our daughter was a nice lower woman and she got murdered by some evil guys, right? Ooh, I see. They fell in love. Okay, maybe it wasn't that bad then. Maybe it wasn't so bad. Maybe it was bad. I don't know, but it sounded more romantic. Sounded more romantic though than actually bad though, like, you know. But maybe it went bad. I guess if you should do it because an old man that lives. Yeah, so they refused to blow up the lighthouse. Well, she returned, I don't know. Maybe she returned one day, generally with her like a husband and maybe some babies, who knows. But you know, Sugimoto's pretty bad with photos. He's gonna be like, oh, Svetlana! Svetlana! No, that's a Russian name. More like East European, definitely. Ukrainian, so Svetlana, that's a very Russian name. Svetlana, yeah. Now this sounds very Russian. I just love that he's probably gonna be like, have you seen this lady? So I pick some other photo. We know that Sugimoto is horrible. We know that Sugimoto is horrible with photos. So I don't know. See, little Azerbaijan. So he's gonna find another girl now. He's some kind of he's a kind of I don't know. That's a good water photo, of course. This instead of the daughter. Can we put the photo on me instead? That's gonna be a great memory. Put me there instead. Okay, other Ainus. Oh yeah, Svetlana. Well, she's probably gonna be in the Ainu village. I mean, Svetlana is unlikely to be in the Ainu village. That is very unlikely. Yeah, so now they are almost in Russia. We know that Sirpan though are in Russia though, so yeah, they're gonna... Man, I ship them. It's a cute little love story here, definitely. Ainu love story. A Neko monster, interesting. Ooh, looks like a kind of... Yeah, it's like a lynx. Yeah, it's a lynx. It's definitely like a... I guess... I think it's a lynx though. He's a monster, Ogata, definitely. It could be Ogata, because he's like a monster, so... I see what you said there. Oh, it's slang for geisha. We know Ogata likes geishas. They're like, man, that guy, he loves the geisha. Yeah, a lot of men don't like him. It's like, yeah, because he keeps killing everyone. It's like, he keeps killing his own family, so he's not very popular. Definitely, he's a con artist, definitely. He will betray anyone. There's a lynx though, so I mean, surely. It's like, no, I agree, this guy is pure evil. Yeah, this steel stuff. Goddamn Ogata. Yeah, can't trust those Ogata cats. Even the tobacco! Holy. No, they don't eat tobacco. They stink. Kawaii. Yeah, it's better kill Ogata. It's a good lesson learned, guys. I agree 100%. They're like, the lesson learned is to kill the cat, and we should kill Ogata. That's like, yes, we should kill him. He's pure evil, that guy. That psychopathic sniper guy, we have to kill him first. It's like, yes. Absolutely agree, but we... No, I mean, I love Ogata's character, but he's clearly incredibly dangerous. And of course, he's, you know, he immediately stopping side if he has a chance. He doesn't care at all. They call it Mekko instead of Neko, it's pretty cute, but it has to be typical lynx, right? It's called like mountain cat. Yeah, let's be a lynx. I mean, lynxes are also, again, my babbling of my life story. No, but lynxes are actually, in my hometown and, you know, in that area, you can find lynxes. Yeah, you can find, it's called Lu, in where I come from. Yeah, it's called Lu, L-word. Sometimes called Lu-katten, which is cat, yeah, low cat, so it's like... And they're pretty big. They're big as like a dog. Yeah, they're... It's not like a lion size, but I've seen them a lot, yeah. They're quite many of them. But like in my hometown, I've seen wolves. So I even saw a wolf one in my garden as a kid, in the house, in the back of the house there. So I saw a wolf one, so... so we have wolves and foxes, so on, little foxes. And a huge amount of deers. Jesus Christ. And for that matter, when I was in college, which is a much bigger city and so on, they had a lot of, as opposed to, but they have some rabbits. There's so much rabbits. So many rabbits in Sweden. All everywhere. Oh, yeah. Russian babe. Here we go. Ooh. Ooh. Could it be Asipa's mom? No, your father also liked her. Could it be her mom, perhaps? She's dead. They're all dead. Come on, they're all freaking dead, anyway. Okay. Maybe not. I don't know, but they're almost usually dead. They're like, can I meet her? It's like, they're almost usually dead in this anime. It's like, where's your daughter? It's always like, it's very, very commonly, right, that everyone freaking murdered or something, or, you know, worse in this anime. Oh, she's probably enslaved somewhere. Oh, okay, yeah. Like, that feels like a Golden Kamuy thing. Oh, what happened to your best friend? Happened to your mom? Happened to your dad? It's like, I shouldn't laugh at it, but I mean, this is an anime where life wasn't... But I laugh at it more in the sense that I think that people are complaining so much today about, oh, I can't buy my favorite food because of this thing. Oh yeah, but do you want to live in... Well, go back 100 years ago in history and live there instead. Oh, that you could complain about. Oh, someone's gonna hit me every day in the snow. Oh yeah, like, oh, I'm forced to work and it's like, you know, Siberian tundra. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, this is... The world used to be... I mean, it still is, of course, other places of the world horrible. But this is like commonplace 100 years ago, right? Well, they do love prisoners anime. Oh, yeah, of course she was one of the revolutionaries. Can I expect that? Yeah, she's some badass old Russian lady. She's like, freak you, I'm gonna kill everyone. Sofia Goldenhand! Oh, see, so she did all this golden hand. She did a lot of crimes. She can pay them revolutionaries. Yeah, your boss was a woman. Yes, she was badass. I love it. Sofia, a badass revolutionary. I love it. They're like, oh man. Oh, there is a lynx. He's like, hey bro, you kinda like me, right? See, Ogata is like, that's right. You and me, bro. You and me. See, he knows they are the best. I love this. He's just staring at it. He can probably kill it though, because it's Ogata, right? He's gonna kill everything, but he's like, maybe I should kill it, even though it looks exactly like me. He just keeps staring at it. He's like, maybe I should kill this cat. He looks exactly like me though. Ogata. Stop befriending evil cats, man. Oh god, anyway. He stares down the lynx cat and he's like, that's right, cat. I know you're like me. That was beautiful. I was ready, and might be it after. I think it's gonna be something after ending credits here. But I'm just like, I know it's called lynx in Latin, so I know I'm saying the right cat name, because I know it's lynx. I know that's the Eurasian lynx. I know it's lynx in Latin, so that's like the proper taxonomy anyway. But I mean, in this anime, it has to be lynx, right? Because the Eurasian lynx exactly it lives in. I'm looking at Wikipedia here. Yeah, exactly. It lives in the northern Sakhalin. Exactly. Doesn't live in Japan, but it lives in North Sakhalin. You can find it in exactly like in Sweden, part of Norway, Finland, and Russia, and also a little part of like some like Schweiz or something. A little part of Europe too, and also a little part of China and Mongolia, but mainly an animal that lives in, like, you know, Scandinavia and like Russia. Exactly, it's a lynx. But yeah, in English it's called lynx, right, or the Euro-Asian lynx. I think it's another lynx too. There's like a yeah, you have a Canadian lynx, which is more furry. It's fluffy. Okay, so there's a Canadian lynx called Canada lynx, and it's like it's fluffier. I was looking at it. It's pretty cute. It looks much more fluffy. I'm gonna put it up here. Canadian lynx. It looks way more fluffy. It's like a fluffier lynx. I love it. It's cute. But yeah, like I mentioned, other lynx, I find them not all the time. But here we go though. More of Sofia. Oh man, she's badass. It's like. Ah, of course Svetlana is there. Of course Svetlana is there. Okay, it's fine. Svetlana is there. Okay, fine, she's fine. Svetlana is alive, in prison too for some reason. What's she in prison for though? What, so they can send the letters to her? Even if she's kind of old school badass revolutionary? She's like, oh, could it be my boys? Probably, right? Oh, this smells like her voice, I think. Probably Fire shows the read message, right? Yeah, Fire shows the read message. He's... Yeah, Julbars. I like it. Yeah, so she's like, my kid is coming. So she's like, yeah, that's my boy is coming here. You're gonna be saying my boy, my son is coming, basically. Yeah, she's like, oh yeah, my youthful boy is coming. I love it. Oh, it's a cool character. Next week, I guess you're gonna see it. But anyway, here's the Canadian lynx then. Here's the Canadian lynx. Yeah, he's way fluffier. He's like way more fluffy hair. So a typical lynx, right? Which you can find, for example, in like my hometown and stuff. But it's pretty common. It's pretty common in my hometown, definitely. And also wolves and foxes and so on. I think the most common animal you see though is the deer. Yeah. And of course we have moose and so on, but the deer is when you're out walking in my hometown, like you're just walking out in the forest or whatever. I mean, my time isn't that time, right? So it's like actually think it this way. So probably by now, right? I was Sweden, right? And my hometown is pretty big for being a Swedish town, right? It's not small. It's like it actually is. I think an average town is probably half its size, maybe it's pretty big. But of course, the thing is that the average size, right, is it comes with every country, right? Of course, people live in like Stockholm, Gothenburg, and I suppose Malmö, but especially Gothenburg, Stockholm, kind of have half the pop, right, basically. Right? It's how it is, right? The same of course in America, right? If you go to America, New York, LA and so on, right? Chicago, they have so many population, right? And then you have all this like Midwest cities that has very, very low population compared to, of course, like the main cities, right? That you should have this, right, in any country. But my home country's cities are of course still smaller compared to my other countries, right? So you have a lot of this, like, because Sweden has a lot of cities, or that have like 500 villages, like 500 people, so on. My hometown has like 15,000 people, so it's small compared to all places. But anyway, things that my hometown has 15,000 people, but it's about 10,000 living in the city. Then my hometown is an archipelago, it has a lot of islands and so on, right? So it's about 5,000 people that lives on these islands, and also then out in like their farmers in the forest and so on, right? So it's actually about 10,000 people in the actual city land, in the urban area though. So that means is that it only takes you about 2 hours to walk from like the north to the south side of the city, hometown. Roughly 2 hours. And the one you take out in the urban, right? Of course you can actually walk for like 10 hours if you can walk the whole, at least like a day, I guess, to walk the circle. But it's from like the north to south of the whole county, it's a very, very long trip, right? But if you just look at like the urban area. So that means that because Sweden has a lot of forests, right, between cities. So if you live in the edge, or you can easily walk to the edge, then you can find all these animals. So you usually find the most are deers. And actually in my hometown then, you can find so many deers. It's like in the actual city. So not in the not downtown, right? But if you go to like some kind of in the suburbs or whatever, right, to my hometown, there's a lot of course villas, right, with big gardens and so on. Right? And they have different apple trees or whatever and so on. And yeah, if you move around those neighborhoods in my hometown, which of course I've done many times in my life, you can find actually very commonly animals in people's gardens, because it's like a huge forest, right? You're surrounded by a big forest, right? Except of course the ocean. Well, yeah, the west coast, right, and then the north. I mean, it's a forest to the north, south, and east, right? The west, of course, is a big ocean, but then you have all the So it's very common to actually find like a lynx and so on, but especially then deers. Because like all the time when I've been in my hometown as a kid, and you're out walking in like the neighborhood, like kind of what I live, but like my cousin lived, out walking his neighborhood especially, there are deers running around in between the garden shit all the time, because it's so close to the forest. It's crazy. But anyway, here's the lynx then. I would say like the typical lynx I've seen as a kid, right? Yeah, the typical European, this is the Eurasian lynx, right? Which is of course the animal they are referring to this animal, yeah. But I kind of like the other one too here. It's the Canadian lynx, the one on the other side. Yeah, the Canadian lynx. They have that very much more fluffy hair, right? Yeah, they have this fluffy, a lot more. How would I say it? They have it more. The fur is a lot more rounded. They don't have it has. They don't look as slim as us. They clearly look very different. They look clearly the same kind of cat animal, but they look quite different thanks to that, the fluffiness of it. I like it. But anyway, yeah, that's what you see in the ogata lynx cat. That was a good episode. I like them. They're like, cats are evil. The Meko cats, they steal stuff. We should kill it. And he's like, I hate ogata. Do you hate him too? Kinda, yeah, we should kill ogata. They're all like when we meet Ogata, let's kill him first, but he's really evil. And then I love, of course, the scene of Ogata staring at the cat. He's like, hey bro, and the cat's like, and they're like, you and me, bro, you and me. He's like, maybe I should kill it anyway. But he's like, even Ogata hesitating to kill a lynx cat. He's like, that looks like me. Oh man. But yeah, badass old lady coming next week. Clearly. And she's the one that's behind the revolutionary then. And I like to call her Golden Hand because she was stealing stuff, right? So have money for the revolutionary bombs and so on. And of course surviving the winter, stuff like that. But as I mentioned earlier in the reaction though, that is such a common issue. And you know I like history, right? And I talked about my grandfather being a history professor and so on. It's just it's like the most common issue ever in Russia, right? You attack the Russians, you get the army, as I mentioned, Karl XII, Napoleon, and of course the German. You enter the Russian and you die in the winter, right? Especially because the Russians, they kind of destroy their own land, right? They kind of burn their own food and remove the houses and so on, so you can't even take shelter and you die there. And it's kind of sad funny, because, as I mentioned again, but you've seen countries do this. You've seen empire after empire try to attack them in this stupid fashion, and they kind of fail, right? One problem though, I will say here, a side note, so the Swedish army, Swedish Empire, actually did take over Moscow. They actually conquered Moscow, yeah. They did it actually in the war. First they beat the Russia for that matter in different combats, right? Then they entered, of course, Russia afterwards. And they actually did get to the capital and conquered it. But again, then the Russians had to move man at food and so on, right? But they conquered it, and they were like, what should we do now? Yeah, and they were like, oh, but the army isn't here. The army is like, it's running further into the Siberian tundra. So the army is like moving further east, right? So they were like, well, we could wait for them, right? Or we could just go back. So that finds some strange history, because you had these moments then, so literally, yeah, the Swedish Empire, their big army decided at the Russian capital, and they're like, should we just like wait for them? And the king is like, I don't know, man, this is a bit boring. Let's go back and kill the Danish or whatever. Yeah, let's go back and like, fight the other countries instead of just standing here. So these kind of left, yeah. So these kind of left. So they were like, I don't know. So that to me is so strange, because I feel that, and that was like a side note, but I just feel that if you're gonna fight this Russia in the winter, right, and you actually manage to take over their capital, wouldn't it be more? I just feel like, in the end, the problem, right, is to, like we saw in the episode here, the problem is to moving into the storm, right, moving into the blizzard. The problem is moving into the ice, right. But if you already have the capital, you can just wait there and let them come to you instead. It would be much better to be like, we're gonna wait for them to return, because they need their capital for all the trade and all the money and so on. They needed this capital eventually anyway. So we can wait for them to move into the winter, right, and then starve them out in the winter and freeze and they can't see and so on, right. And we have the walls and stuff like that. So I thought it's so strange that they were like, let's go back. And they were like, whatever then. This is boring. Like, this takes too much time. This problem though, in their defense, is that they had many wars on the same time, right? So they were like, we need the army to kind of go and fight, like the Danish and the Polish, and we need to fight the other countries. That was the problem for them though. But at the same time, the issue with this is that you move so much people into, as I mentioned earlier, you move so much people into Russia, right? Like for example here, and they do freeze to death, right? So you lose a lot of soldiers just moving your army from like the west to the east, and then go back again, you lose more soldiers. So it's like, I feel if you're gonna fight this Russian up here, you have to kind of like, you have to go full out. I feel you enter Russia, right, and you fight them in the blizzard, or you don't, right? I think that's the thing. Yeah, you can't go half-ass back. So I got this Bellman stories. I don't know what it's called in English, but Bellman is, at least it's called Bellman in English. Bellman is like the old Swedish Bellman joke. Yeah, Swedish joke cycle. Bellman. It's a Swedish Bellman historier. But anyway, so Bellman, this is very Swedish. Bellman, it's a Swedish joke. Okay, so Bellman stories about doing something that is, how I say it. It's always used like Bellman and two other people, like a Bellman, a Russian, and a Finnish guy were doing this stuff, right? And then Bellman usually wins, but it doesn't stupid in the end. So for example, it's a Bellman story where Bellman is gonna swim in the cold water, like the Baltic or whatever, with the Russian, a Finnish guy, and like a Danish guy, and they're gonna swim, right? And so they're like, we're gonna swim like 10 miles, okay? And then the Finnish guy, he could only swim like 2 miles, right? So he lost. He went back. He was too cold, right? He lost. The Danish guy, he swam like 4 miles, and then he lost and died, whatever. Right there. The Russian guy, he could swim like 6 miles, right? And then he died or something. Yeah. And then Bellman, because he's a Swedish hero, right? So Bellman, he swam 8 miles, right? And then like 10, he swam 8 miles, right? So he's like, man, this guy's awesome. But then instead of saying, but then Bellman felt that 8 miles, man, I can't make it, right? It's too far to the to the coastline. So he went back then and got back up again. That's a Bellman joke. I know it's not the fancy here, because the point is that, yeah, the other guys died right at 2, 4, and 6. Bellman went to 8, and then because it's only 10 miles, he could actually just finish the swim right and actually go up on the coastline, in like Finland's coastline. But he was like, nah, this is too boring. This is too much for me. So he went back again. So he actually swam, of course, 8 times 2 miles, right, 16 miles instead. So he won severely, right? So that's the stupid Bellman joke. Yeah, but it's kind of like that. We have this joke a lot in Sweden. It's like, oh, you enter Russia, and they're like, well, it's kind of like that. Oh, you either you enter Russia, right, and you enter the storm, and you either you go to Moscow and you stop there. You can't go to like, you can't go to like, oh, it's like 100 miles to Moscow, like 95 miles gone, like 5 miles left. You're like, we never get into Moscow, it's freaking cold, let's go back home again. Then you die, right? Because it's better going further into the village, right, than going backwards, because it's 95 miles back again. So you're probably gonna freeze that, right? It felt kind of similar here, honestly. They get into the issue, but it's usually because, like we saw here, we are in this cold environment. You're trying to reach something, right? You have to kind of just go head on. Yeah, I feel it's kind of how you have to solve this Blizzard. Like, so Tsukamoto's one they didn't play it correctly, right? Because you either go into the Blizzard, right? Then you keep going until you get to the next village. You can't like stop halfway through or be like, we have to go back now. Because again, if you go back, it usually is a third, because I think that Bellman stories, the swimming in the cold water with Bellman, is kind of like, cannot teach it as a kid, right? Because it's like, no, if you're gonna swim in the cold water, you better you swim the whole way, because when you're realizing that it's too cold for you, then you probably actually have reached more than half the line. So you have to just commit to go to the next place, right? If you're gonna go on this cold trip in the Scandinavian winter, you have to basically, when you're gonna feel that it's too cold to do it, you're probably more than halfway through, right? So you can just go on instead. It's better to try to reach the next village and try to go back home again, because it's like you're very likely are over 50% of the distance, right, when you start feeling that it's too cold for you. I think that's kind of important in that story, and I feel the same thing in the episode here, where they're like, well, they're like, oh no, we have to go back, or we have to like take a camp here because it's so damn cold. Yeah, but it's probably closer actually to the next place, right? I think that's kind of the philosophy I think you have to learn. You have this push further, right, in that sense. Of course, if you realize it immediately, you go and meet. It's too cold. You go back. Yeah, that's one thing, of course. It's like, oh no, that's too cold. It's green. That's one thing. But yeah, how to survive the Russian winter, right? It's always been a problem. Well, anyway, that's good, Kamuy, guys. Press that like button, guys. I'm looking forward a lot to seeing this Sofia. Sofia. I had a girl in my class called Sofia. Yeah, Sofia is a pretty common name, I think, in Scandinavia and so on. Yeah, a cute girl named Sofia. And I had other girl names like, Frida and so on. Yeah, that's kind of Freya, it's typical Swedish names. Hanna and so on, yeah, they're pretty, Johanna and so on, pretty common Swedish names. And Svetlana, of course, that is in prison for some reason. But at least they found her, yeah, at least they're gonna find her, right, probably. Well, actually, maybe not. I mean, Sugimoto is like, I'm gonna save Svetlana and Sirpa-chan, but it's a Sirpa is gonna mean Svetlana, so I mean, maybe they're gonna team up somehow. But I wonder what she's in prison for, because her story didn't sound that bad. Like, I mean, the family is like, some random soldier appeared, and then she left with her. I mean, maybe he kidnapped their daughter, perhaps, but maybe she just left because she fell in love, right? She met this, soldier, and he lived there for a month, and she was like, oh, this guy's amazing, they probably had some, smashing on the side, and then she left with him, right? So I'm not seeing why she should be so much in trouble. I don't know, the family is completely devastated, but it also feels like she kind of eloped, right? She was like, no, I'm in love with this guy, and my parents won't understand, so I feel like she necessarily won't actually have been in much trouble, because she's like met a guy she fell in love with. But also, maybe she was kidnapped, maybe, right? Maybe. But yeah, next episode sounded really good there. Meeting the boss there. Meeting Sofia, the badass old crony. Yeah. But anyways, see you guys later tonight, of course, with Little Demon Evil Princess. It's gonna be awesome.